Hello and welcome back to the channel. As always, I'm Andy. So today I wanted to do a toy review for almost like a younger child. I've got one myself. She's 4, so I've recently just purchased this particular toy, which falls into the tech category for her birthday, which is in November, so this month. So again, kind of falls in line with the idea of it's an ideal potential Christmas gift. Particularly, the reason why I bought it is because there are a load of additional accessories, which are all, obviously, as everything is these days, paid for accessories that will certainly complement this, and the idea is that family or friends can potentially go and buy her, the additional bits for this. So what am I reviewing? So basically this is the My Tonies box. Now it's spelled Tonies as in Tonies. This Tonies box is battery powered. It's got a wonderful little fabric surround, so it's quite robust. It's not, if it was dropped by a child, it's unlikely to break. The top part there is plastic, and the ears are rubber, so that bit, potentially, if mishandled or thrown, could potentially damage. But again, I think it's well constructed that realistically, that the ears would probably take the impact, and therefore them being rubber would probably make it survive. And at the very bottom is basically the charging bit, and again that's bit of plastic, but there is a inner surround there which is rubberized, so I believe, just feeling that, it feels like the rubber would take any impact first. So yeah, really well made for a child, a young child. The speaker part, you would think if you push too far you'd be able to touch the speaker. I can't feel the cone, so it's not likely unless you put something sharp in there you do any damage that way. So how they work is they come with individual bits, a bit like the Nintendo's Amiibos, where they've obviously got a chip in the bottom, which sits across the top. As you can see, it's illuminated. I believe this is a headphone jack just here. I'm not sure why you'd want it unless you didn't want your child's song playing really loud, which I can appreciate. But basically, the one that comes in the box will be obviously dependent on the colour. This one's pink, just because it's for my daughter. If you place it on top, these ones you can load with various different stories, songs, nursery rhymes, that kind of thing. They're limited to around just under an hour, I believe, for these particular ones. I'll double check that when I show you the My Tonies app. But basically, these ones you can fully customise, so everything that goes on these can vary, and you can obviously control the content, and some of it is obviously age appropriate. So you've got the ability to be fairly flexible with those. And if I place this on, it almost starts instantly. And to be honest, it's got quite a weird feel. So if you get to about here, you can pick it up. So hopefully the child doesn't realise that, but they are magnetic. So at the moment it sits in monkey. Obviously I clearly am. They do have tie-ins with Disney. There has a hell of a lot of Disney products. My daughter's favourite one at the moment is anything princess related, but she is massively into Frozen, so I got her Elsa and Anna. So if we pop those on, anybody who's had a daughter of a certain age will know that song. That's enough of that. And obviously her sister Anna, which we can pop on as well, and that will start playing a song. And I think this is from the second film. Now the only annoyance I have with these particular ones is when you swap them, it seems to start again. Now obviously if it's got an hour's worth of content, my daughter is terrible for just picking them up and swapping them over. So she'll listen to the song she wants to hear,
I can hear you,
and then she'll take it off. Now as I mentioned, the volume controls, you'll see now, it does continue. If I put the same one back on, if I put Anna back on, Frozen, sorry, Elsa on, it starts from the beginning. As you can see, there the volume up and down with a nice audible beat. So yeah, that's the product in itself. It does come with a charging unit, which I'll show you the video for at the moment. Now the setup of this is quite simple. If you've ever dealt with anything that connects to your Wi-Fi, that uses sort of smart technology, Alexa, sort of smart plugs, etc. How they kind of work is you basically connect to this device's Wi-Fi. So this device has its own built-in Wi-Fi that you connect to originally, and then you enter your Wi-Fi password. So obviously if you've got a phone, I think one of the biggest challenges you get, I get it a lot on my Samsung, whereas you'll connect to the Wi-Fi and it'll instantly warn you to say, do you want to connect to this because you've got no internet? You absolutely do, because it's just basically to initialise this device to your Wi-Fi. Once it's initialised, I've moved it all around the house. I mean, I'm quite fortunate, obviously, working in the job I do. I've got decent Wi-Fi everywhere, but to be honest, it uses 2.4 gigahertz, and it does seem to be very stable because obviously it's using the lower band, which most sort of smart tech does. What I like about this though, it's got no screen, and obviously from that point of view, you're not leaving a child in front of a screen for long periods, but it does tell them kind of stories, but in an audible way, and obviously sing along songs, etc. So yeah, really well made product. I really like it. I obviously wouldn't buy one for myself, but for kids these days, it's probably better than having them stuck in front of an iPad or in front of the TV, because it's a little bit educational as well. And the fact, like I said, because it's soft around the edges, you're not so worried about it potentially getting damaged. The charging port is on the bottom now. I'm just going to cover up my Tony ID so it's not seen, because I don't want anybody connecting to that. But basically it sits on a little dock, which I'll show you in a short while. Yeah, and that's it. I don't know how long the battery life is. I will add it to the end of this video. But yeah, it's a really, really good product. I would thoroughly recommend it for any child. It is quite expensive. It's about £80 odd. That's what I picked it up for. The Tonies themselves, depending on the packs, kind of retail around, again, sort of £12 upwards. I found. You can get them in multiple packs and they kind of things. But if you think about it, £12 to keep your child quiet for an hour, hopefully, or in my case, in my daughter's case, not quiet when she's listening to Frozen, but it keeps them entertained. So you can't really put a price on that. Thank you. So following on with the Toniebox and its stand, as I mentioned, it is fully battery powered. It's really well made. Nice little rubberized tops for these volume up and down. But the base element, basically, there's a little cutout, as you can see. There's a little protruding connection. Just sits nicely on, and it seats nicely, and you kind of get an audible beep when it's set in. So if we take a look into the app, now I'm using something called Let's View to do this. I can click on my Toniebox and basically set the master volume and the headphone volume from here, which kind of then stops any override. There's some different advanced settings you can toy around with. You can go into your Tonies, and as I mentioned earlier, they do have variance amounts of times, and you can see their playlists. So the Anna and Elsa ones I'm looking at here only have around 30 minutes. But looking at the main one, which is a Creative Tony, this has got up to 90 minutes, so I corrected myself there from earlier, where you can add different, sort of nursery rhymes, stories, books, all sorts, that kind of thing. It's all designed to basically enable you to customize the content for your little one, which I think is a really, really good solution. Now, I'm sure you can buy additional Creative Tonies. I haven't looked into that yet, but I certainly will do, because I imagine it's very easy to fill up 90 minutes quite quickly. But looking at the diverse range of Tonies they've got, and that's just a subset. If you actually delve into the app, you can find all of the ones, and they've got Disney, they've got the ones from the Gruffalo and all of those kind of stories in there. So there's a massive variety to choose from, and it kind of goes on, and yeah, it's a great product.